Okay, got another package here for the old Atari. Let's take a look at what we got. This one is from Steve at Atarimax, and it is the second item I ordered for my 5200 just recently. Let's take a look at the packaging. All right. Wow. Let's take a look at what we got here. Look at that. Stapled. Very interesting. Nice. Nicely done. Nice packing. I don't know what this is. Oh, we got a Bitcoin? Oh, there we go. I have no idea what I'm looking at here. Looks like I got an SD card. So what we've got here is a Atarimax Ultimate SD Multicart. So with this one, you can load up your applications on your SD card and then pop them in here, and then you can play with your games. This one, I have no idea what this is. Computer and generated images. There's 6 cards here. I think I might just have to put this one away, and maybe I'll open it in 10 years from now. I have no idea what this is, but interesting. This guy, don't know what this is either. What do we got? Oh, look at that. It's a Namco token. Very nice. Look at that. Little Pac-Man on there and everything. Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate it. This is really nice. Wonder when this was made. Very cool. I'm going to check my letter here. Okay, so from Atarimax, thank you for your order of the new Ultimate SD cartridge for the Atari 5200 for supporting homebrew game developers, which I definitely do. You will find the following items enclosed with your kit. Got the SD cartridge, an SD memory card, firmware and menu software installed on the SD card, bonus homebrew 5200 game, beef drop, full version. Get started, insert that. Okay, for more information, including documentation, go to Atarimax. Also, please take a moment to visit our product forums. Very nice. Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. This is really nice. There we go. So we've got multi-flash cartridges for the Atari 800, ColecoVision. This one might have to be one of my future upgrades here. These are kind of interesting. My ID 2 compact flash cartridges, and this one here, SIO to PC interface. I won't do that because I'm not interested in connecting my old Ataris to a PC. But something like this is interesting. Or this guy. I'll have to look at these two here and see what's going on. But yeah, very nice. So obviously, next step is to put this in the Atari and see how it works. So the SD card just slots in the top. It doesn't have the fancy spring mechanism that allows it to go in flush, so it will stick out a little bit. When I turn on the 5200, you're going to notice a lot of clicking sounds. This is due to the joystick not self-centering, so I have to kind of push it up a little bit to get it to center. It does make it a little bit more difficult to control. And we'll take a look at the game Beef Drop. This is the game that the Multicart came with. This is intended to be a review of the game, so it's just a quick playthrough. Okay, so here I've got my image that I created for the SD card. And you can sort this any way you want. The way I've decided to sort is I want third-party titles, so I can see all the companies that made games for the 5200 that was not Atari. And of course I've got my Atari titles here. What's kind of nice is I've got the name of the game with the year and then the publisher. And this is also very interesting here. These are titles that were converted from the 8-bit series computer line, so Atari 400s, 800s, 800XLs. So these games were originally made for the computer and then converted to run on the 5200. So you can see I've got 69 titles in here, which really expands the 5200 library. Another one that's really interesting are the enhanced titles. So these are games where somebody has taken the original title, such as Frogger, and then modified it so that it works in different ways, or they've improved the graphics. So in this case with Frogger, it takes away that really annoying button press that you have to do for every single move. And then another one that I really like is this Gorf, where they've digitized it, and I'll show that in an upcoming video. Some of them have really nice graphics enhancements. Probably the biggest one here, we've got Miner 2409er, where they really enhance the graphics of the player character, making it actually a much more enjoyable game. And another one here is Popeye. Popeye is really cool, and also Donkey Kong Jr. You have two different versions here, the arcade and enhanced encore versions. So those are actually a lot of fun to play with. And then we also have homebrew games. Homebrew games, these are games that somebody has written from the start to finish. Some of them I really like the Adventure 2 is done very, very well. Beef Drop is kind of the Burger Time knockoff, and it's actually, that's what comes with the SD card, so that's nice to have, the Multicart. And some other ones here. Let's see, and we also have the manuals directory. So this is where you can take the manuals on a text format and put them in the manuals directory. So any game that basically, say if I look at I've got my manuals here, I've got Adventure 2, that's one of the homebrews. So the key is you just make sure that the names are the same from the game ROM to the text document, and the 5200 will be able to pull that up and play it, or view it, no problem. And I'll demonstrate that when I show the multi-cart in action. And another group of games that I actually really enjoy playing with are the prototypes. All these games are all prototypes. I believe all of them from Atari. So they're games that they were working on. You could kind of see the direction they were going with some of these games. A lot of them play really poorly, and it all has to do with that analog stick. So I think they just never got past QA in the early stages. A good example of that would be Asteroids. It's very, very difficult to control, very difficult to play. But there are new modern ways around that as well. Not sure if this system test images has to be here, but I'm just going to leave it for now. But I've got a calibration utility for the joystick, so you can see how well the joystick's working. A little README just tells you how to run the diagnostics with the 5200 running. And here's a couple of programs for the multi-cart as well to run. May or may not need those, I'm not sure. Now over on this side, this is my USB stick. The first thing you're going to need is a folder called 5200. So I'll go ahead and create that. And then I'm just going to drag and drop these programs, or I'll just copy and paste. Drag and drop would work too, but so I'll put everything into onto the SD card, and this is going to take a little bit. Looks like I've got 6.8 megabytes. View a list view. So as you can see, I've got a 4 gig card, and I'm using about 7 megabytes of storage space. This is kind of where I was going with the 4 gig card being way, way more than what you need. And actually, my SD card came with the 16 gig card. I copied the contents of that to my computer as a backup. Some people have lost those files, so it would probably be a good idea to go ahead and back up your SD card prior to doing what I'm doing here and messing around with it. So the first game I want to take a look at is Defender. This is a game that is very difficult to play. It really challenges you, so it makes it a lot of fun, and you can play it again and again. Atari's games came straight out of arcades from the 1980s for the 5200, and they're just a heck of a lot of fun. So to view the instructions with the Multicart, first is you have to copy a text file into the instructions, into the manuals directory, and give it the same name as the game. And you also have to have the TXT extension at the end of the file name. And then to read the instructions, all you got to do is push 3 on the keypad. The next game I'd like to take a look at is Joust. This is another 80s arcade hit. Just absolutely loved it. I've actually got this game for the Atari 2600, the Atari 5200, and even the Atari 7800. As a matter of fact, the reason I bought an Atari 7800 was because of Joust. And the final Atari published game I want to take a look at is Pengo. This is actually a fun little puzzle game where you have to run around and squash the bad guys with ice blocks. Pretty challenging. Nice little arcade conversion from the 80s as well. There were also several third-party titles released for the Atari 5200. Many of the titles are pretty good, but I'd say overall Atari did a better job on their game releases than the third parties did. One manufacturer in particular was Activision. Just did a fantastic job with the Atari 2600, but overall I'd say quite a letdown on the 5200, mostly because these were almost direct ports from the Atari 2600, which had some very limited hardware capabilities, so they really didn't take advantage of the Atari 5200's additional power. One exception is the game Zenji. I played this game quite a bit on the Commodore 64 and found that the 5200 version, at least from my memory, appears to be just about the same. It is a lot of fun, and it's a game that I'd highly recommend you give a chance. Parker Brothers was another one of my favorite publishers from the 80s. They really put out some nice games on the Atari 2600. They do have a few games on the 5200. One of my favorites that they released was Super Cobra. Definitely a great side-scroller, another game I'd highly recommend. And my third and final noteworthy choice for third-party releases is Montezuma's Revenge, also by Parker Brothers. This is an action-adventure game where you have to find keys, unlock doors, solve puzzles. It's a good game, and this is something that was fairly new back at the time, so very good. Definitely worth playing. So in addition to the published games for the Atari 5200, the Atarimax Ultimate SD Multicart gives you access to enhanced games and homebrew games. So some of the enhanced games would include titles like Miner 2409er, where they went in and improved the graphics. So it's the same game, but it has nicer graphics. So in this case, we can see that our miner, oh, it looks like a miner. Let's say quick gameplay. So, same game, just greatly enhanced graphics. Much nicer looking. So the Atarimax Ultimate SD Multicart, it allowed me to take my collection of games and compile them into a single cartridge. Now, I do believe that you cannot get the same experience through emulation than having the actual real hardware. I really do enjoy having a collection of Atari cartridges like this. I've had these for many years. I've collected them over many years. I plan on continue to collect these games over the next few years. But the Atarimax Ultimate SD Multicart, what it does is it gives you access to a lot more games than what were published on the original hardware. So do I think the Atarimax Ultimate SD Multicart is a must-have for the Atari 5200 collector? Absolutely. I would strongly encourage anyone out there with a working Atari 5200 to go ahead and make the investment, get yourself an Atarimax Ultimate SD Multicart, and not only that, take a look at the homebrew games that are available and continue to help grow the library of Atari 5200 games. So I hope that you found this video informative and that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you come back for more videos from 300 Baud. Take care. Bye.